this on to after this event. We'll be able to pass this recording on to you, along with the presentations that you have here today. And we'll also have the contact details of all the people who are on the call today if you want to ask any questions. The chat box is open. Feel free to put questions in the chat box and we can address your questions through the presentations, but also at the end of the event. And we expect to be finished in about 1 hour. Is that all right? Okay, so if we can get started then. So our 3 study destinations that we're looking at today in Ireland are Dublin, first of all, Galway, second of all, and Cork, lastly. But if we'll just get started with Sinead, very briefly, if you could just maybe introduce yourself and just tell us a tiny bit about what's going on the ground at the moment in the embassy. And Justin here from CES, he might have a few questions for you. He knows a little bit about the market also. So Sinead, I'm just introducing you to Justin here also. So Sinead, if you could just tell us a little bit about what's going on, just a few minutes on what's happening.
Of course. Good afternoon, everybody. Really lovely to be invited to speak at this and answer any of your questions. So I'm Sinead McGuinness and I manage the visa office here in the Embassy of Ireland in Ankara, Turkey. I'm here almost 2 years. And in that time, as you're all aware, things have changed dramatically. So as yet, I still don't have a date to issue visas for English language students, but I am hoping and I'm praying that this will happen sooner rather than later, because I understand with my discussions with my management in Dublin that the English language schools have made all the changes and are compliant with all the regulations to open in class on campus classes again, I suppose, courses again. We can accept the applications and we can process them up so far. So for the people who do not reach the standard for or all the criteria, thank you, all the criteria for issuing a visa, and even with going backwards and forwards, if it still isn't right, we can issue a refusal. And of course, you know yourself that the applicant can make an appeal and address each of the refusal conditions, but we still have to hold on to the ones that are grants, as we haven't been given permission so far to issue the visas. But I would like to say that as soon as we are given the permission to do so, we will do it as quickly as possible. More than likely, we would have to, do a few long days, which is not going to kill us. We're fairly capable of doing that. We have the applications where the lovely students that we've corresponded with, I'd say over the last 18 months, about 3 or 4 times to reiterate whether they wanted to continue with their application or did they wish to withdraw. We have kept a log of all of these applicants who wished to withdraw. So it won't be, oh, they had an application and they withdrew it. It's because of COVID that this has happened. Each of these records has been noted that it was due to COVID that they had to withdraw their application. Thankfully, at the beginning, some of them wanted us to refuse their visa application because they couldn't travel and they wished to get their money back. But I know that the institutions in Ireland said, no, that doesn't, because of the unusual circumstances the world was put in, that students were able to withdraw their application because they didn't know when they would be in a position to travel, and the colleges all refunded their fees, which was great, because I think that also provided the student and the different, because most of the students are in different WhatsApp groups and different fora, that they all speak to each other. So then it leaves Ireland still in a really positive position in people's minds, that where would you like to go and study? Well, do you know what? When the pandemic hit, the institution in Galway, Cork, Dublin just refunded my money when I withdrew my application because we didn't know when this was going to end. So I'm going to go back to Ireland, and that will be the case.
Yeah,
So I'm hoping we have, I think, around 200 English language study applications on hand, ready to go.
that's good. Good news.
Yeah. Is there anything else? Is there anything I didn't address there?
Yeah, Justin, anything you want to jump in? Justin, you're on mute there. Sorry.
Yeah, I've just unmuted myself, Patrick. It's only taken 18 months to get used to the Zoom lark, you know. No, Sinead, first of all, thank you very much for giving us the time.
Absolutely.
What I would say is that about 2 months ago, I was talking at a conference that YITAB organized about global education in Turkey. And there was about, Osman was there, and there was about 200 people in attendance at that conference. And it's good to see Osman when he picks back up, because he was quite sick afterwards, and it's good to see him looking so well. So good, well, welcome back, Osman. But one of the feedbacks from the agents on that call was the assistance that the Irish embassy was giving. So the two embassies that stood out were Canada and Ireland for the feedback to the agents and the assistance, and giving honest and positive answers to the agents. And so the feedback from that conference was that Ireland and Canada were way ahead of the others. So a huge,
that's really nice to hear. Thank you.
A huge congratulations and thank you on our behalf for that, because we were rowing against the stream at that stage, and it was difficult, and there was no end in sight. But you know, I think you've answered a lot of the questions that I was going to ask. How many visas were in the pipeline? You know, how long is it going to take? Are you ready? And you've answered nearly all of the questions. And I sort of, you know, we follow very closely in Ireland, Turkey, and I suppose the comment from me, from the on the ground comment, is watching how easily the Turkish students assimilate into Irish society. They assimilate very, very quickly, and they mix in very quickly into Irish society. And I suppose it's really just to get the message across that the students who come over to Ireland aren't a burden on Irish society. But I suppose the question is that we're really, as an organization, we're very keen to keep promoting and growing Ireland over there with the support of the Irish Embassy. And we see Turkey as a primary market. I know that Enterprise Ireland see Turkey as a primary market, and I know that the IDA and the Department of Foreign Affairs see Turkey as a primary market. So I think it's really the question is that what do we need to do from your side for us to help grow Ireland as a market? What would you suggest we do to help promote and grow Ireland in Turkey? And I think one of the things I would be conscious of is the sheer scale of Turkey, the regions, and all the different areas. So I'm going to say, you should be going out visiting everywhere, or what's your thoughts on that, Sinead?
Well, I was lucky enough to meet many of the agents and the colleges I attended 2 study expos in Istanbul, and then we had a stand where other staff from the embassy manned in Ankara. Sadly, we didn't go to Izmir. I don't know why. Maybe they don't trust me near the coast. But I think they are really, really good, because very kindly the embassy were given a free stand at these expos, and we sat in the middle near the English language schools, and we had great support from Enterprise Ireland. But we were able to sit there, and when we did both English language and third level, and it was really good to sit there and explain to the parents, to the potential students, the visa process, what happens when you go to Ireland, what Ireland is really like. And then we were saying, right, well, you want to study this, that, and the other. Well, I'd suggest you go over and talk to this college, that college, the other college. That is really good, because it's face-to-face. I know these are not happening at the moment, but maybe even another virtual event. I attended one, and I have to say the agents were kept quite busy. The embassy was not. But myself and the staff of the visa office are always really happy to do anything to engage and promote Ireland in any way, especially studying in Ireland. So if you think we can do more, if you think we should have more on our website, now we are kind of curtailed on what we can put on the website because it's kind of controlled by head office. But yeah, if there's anything you think we should be doing more of or enhance,
And
is there something that we should ask the press to do? Is there some, you know, that we...
What would your thoughts be on an Ireland brand only event in Turkey, where we just promote Ireland's both the language schools and universities in Turkey as an event in 2022, to have an Ireland.
I'd be happy with that. I would think that'd be great. I may have to speak to Ambassador about it, but I wouldn't see any issue.
Perfect.
Sorry, I've just got a message from the Ambassador. I'm just going to let her know.
Perfect.
Is he having his Ferrero Rocher?
It's a she.
She, yes.
And the great news is her name is Sonia McGuinness.
Oh, nothing confusing then.
No, not a bit confusing at all. Both S. McGuinnesses, both women. And there's 3 S. McGuinnesses in the department. The other one is my Uncle Sean.
A good family relationship, Sinead, that's what we like.
Well, she's not related to me at all, I'm afraid.
Well, Sinead, listen, thank you for your contribution there. And Justin, thank you for your questions. Justin Quinn at CES.
Sorry about that.
I'm going to step along to our next presenter then, Janice Horner, who's at Horner School in Dublin. And Janice is going to give us a little presentation on Dublin as a study destination. So Janice, I'm just going to make you the host there. You should have the information. And then Janice's presentation will be about 10 minutes long, followed by my own and then Mark. But please feel free to put questions in the chat box as we go on.
Sorry, I know I'm not sharing that Patrick is, but can everybody who's listening put their Zooms on?
Böyle kaldım hani hoş geldiniz değil ama. Eyvah, benim sesim mi gidiyor?
There we go. Hi, everybody. Good morning. Thank you, Patrick. Sinead, it's great to see you again. That actually was my last trip out of Ireland, the Study Expo in Istanbul, and absolutely, I love it. Love Turkey, as always. I have since I started going.
It's so, I've thought about you so much. I wondered how you were getting on and hoping the school was doing okay, but I do love the new hair.
It's grey. It says everything about the last 18 months.
A friend of mine said they're God's highlights.
No, we're actually, I think I can speak for all the schools on the call today. We are all doing well. We are super positive. This is the closest we've been to a full reopening. And we're really, really enthusiastic that we will have a full reopening in line with all of the universities, the ITs and the 3rd level colleges. So don't worry, we're strong and we're coming back strong.
That's so great to hear. I'm really delighted.
Yeah. And we've all accumulated these brand new skills as well. So
there's
no stopping us. Yeah.
Okay, I'll take one.
And to everybody else, it's lovely to see the partner schools. Obviously, we've been quite cooperative for the last 18 months across all of the English language schools inside the MEI family. And it's great to see. We've been very supportive of each other and we've really appreciated that. And it's lovely to see some of our Turkish partners here as well. And we look forward to working with all of you. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen, my presentation, so just bear with me. Two seconds, apologies. No, that's not coming up, excuse me. Okay. And I will just move you a little bit out of the way. And here we go. Okay. Can everybody see that now?
Yes, Janice.
Thank you. Okay. All right. Okay. So, as you know, my name is Janice Horner, and I'm presenting on behalf of the Dublin schools who are on the call here today. I'm delighted to have the opportunity to show you why, in our opinion, Dublin is one of the leading destinations in the world in which to study English. So, first off, I'm going to give you some general facts about Ireland, and then I'm going to give you an overview about Dublin. So, Ireland. Ireland is a member of the European Union since 1973. We have a population currently estimated at 5.1 million. The currency is the euro, and our mother tongue is English. As you're all aware, we have very easy access air travel. Turkish Airlines provides a direct flight 7 days per week, Istanbul to Dublin. And in the summer, there's a schedule with Aer Lingus from Izmir to Dublin. So Dublin is the capital city of Ireland. Later on, Mark Cullen is going to present about Cork, and don't mind what he says. Dublin is the real capital. It's the largest city on the island, and the population is 1.24 million. So Dublin City can trace its origins back more than 1,000 years. And lucky for us, our heritage has been protected and preserved. So we have fantastic, this blend of historic and contemporary in Dublin. Here you can see the Halfpenny Bridge, which was opened in May 1816, and it crosses the River Liffey. It's called the Halfpenny Bridge because when it opened, the residents of Dublin had to pay a halfpenny in which to cross from one side of the river to the other. And underneath, we have the Samuel Beckett Bridge, which was opened in 2009. Now, in the early 2000s, a lot of regeneration and development took place in Dublin. And here I'm showing you a picture from the River Liffey and the Docklands area of Dublin. Really, all of this has been rebuilt since the noughties. And what's happened is that a lot of tech companies, large international companies, have come into Ireland, and they fitted so well that they have expanded and developed, and they've attracted other like sci-tech businesses into the capital city. And a lot of these big companies, Google, Facebook, LinkedIn, HubSpot, Slack, etc., they now employ quite a lot of people. And this area of Dublin now is known as the Silicon Docks. And just to give you an example, Google came to Dublin in 2003, and they opened with 100 employees. They now employ more than 8,000 employees. Facebook came in 2008. And they have also expanded their workforce. So what I'm trying to say is that Dublin has become quite a lively, vibrant, international and cosmopolitan city. Now, getting around the city, commuting is easy. We have the tram that was opened in 2004. This is 2 tram lines that interconnect in the center of the city. And more importantly, they actually link to Connolly Station and Euston train station. So you have good train links down to Galway, Cork and up to Belfast. In the city, we also have the DART train. This is an electric train. It runs from the north to the south part through the city centre, linking the suburbs from Howth to Bray and Greystones, in fact. And some beautiful views from the train on the way out to both sides of the city. And then the latest passion, the latest passion that Dubliners have in
Şu an bir toplantıdayım Ayten Hanım ya.
are the cycling.
Olur, tamamdır, sağ olun.
The city centre now has new cycling tracks all across the suburbs as well. So cycling is definitely here to stay. Now, as I said, Dublin is a young and vibrant city. We have 4 top universities with more than 120,000 students enrolled. So Trinity, UCD, DCU, and the new university, Technical University of Dublin. Link added to this, we have Institutes of Technology, all of the English language schools, and third level colleges as well. So it really is a vibrant place in which to study. Now, what makes Ireland and Dublin a leading destination for learning English? And in our opinion, quality. Quality matters. It's the first and most important element. All of the schools on the call today, we are recognised and accredited by QQI and ACELS. QQI is Qualifications and Quality Ireland. We're also members of MEI, that's Marketing English in Ireland. And then different organisations are members of Quality English, YALC, ALTO and Equals. We are inspected on a regular basis by all of these bodies. In addition, we want to highlight the fact that the English language teachers teaching in our schools, they hold a minimum of a university degree and a recognised Teaching English as a Foreign Language certificate. So this means that English language classes in Ireland are delivered by professionally qualified teachers. We have a full range of courses across all of the Dublin schools. So we're catering for adults, professionals and executives, teachers, closed groups, teenagers, family and children groups. My colleague Mark Cullen, he is going to give you more information about the range of courses and also all of the exam courses that are available, because coming to study in Ireland and then departing with a recognised certificate or diploma that testifies your level achieved is very important for us. The next element of quality are the varied accommodation options that we have in Ireland. So first off, without a doubt, Irish host families have a fantastic reputation for the warmth of their welcome. They are very friendly, where Irish people are naturally curious, and the families like to get to know their students. In Dublin and in Cork, the host families live in the suburbs surrounding the city, so easy commuting distance of the city centre. In Galway, many of the host families are within walking distance. All of our families are inspected on a regular basis, and we would collect and maintain feedback from all students. And therefore we can stand over the quality and the ongoing quality of the accommodation. Now, in recent years, we're happy to have lots of new student residences. They provide high quality accommodation with single bedrooms, private ensuite bathrooms, apartments. Generally, many of them are in the centre of cities. We've got good communal spaces. They would have gyms, for example, study rooms, coffee areas. So it's a very good option, and it's an addition to the varied accommodations across the country. I want to just mention a little bit some of the common values that we have between Turkish and Irish people. I know Justin touched on this just a little while ago, but one of the main commonalities is that family in Ireland and family in Turkey really is at the core of our society. And I think that is a fantastic support to the Turkish students when they first come to Ireland, especially at the beginning. And it's reassuring for their families back home in Turkey. The other element is that both nations love to discuss, debate and chat. We love to have a bit of fun with the language. We like to engage with each other. And it really is a very nice common value that we share between the two nations. Dublin. So there's lots to do when you're on your free time and at the weekend. So the Dublin city centre is small and it really is best visited on foot. So we have shopping on Grafton Street and Henry Street, beautiful gardens, beautiful Georgian architecture, lots of museums and art galleries, and the visitor attractions such as the famous Guinness Storehouse. If we have a few minutes, I'd like to just show you a short video. So this is Keep Discovering Dublin, which was produced by Fáilte Ireland, and I hope you can see this.
You might think you know Dublin, but maybe it's time for a closer look. To seek out wild sights in the heart of the city and find stories bold and brave at every turn. Fill your days surrounded by surprising treasures and pass through gateways that lift your spirits and lead to sparkling city nights. There's so much to explore. Keep discovering Dublin.
Okay, and then hold on a second. Okay, now, so that's really just to give you a very good glimpse of all of the things that you can do in Dublin and nearby. So, as I said at the beginning, Dublin is located on the east coast of Ireland, and the city is built on the River Liffey with Dublin Bay in front and the mountains, Dublin Mountains behind us. So it means within 30 to 40 minutes from the centre, a whole range of visits and activities are possible. So you also have plenty of adrenaline-inducing activities such as mountain biking in Ticknock and swimming in the 40-foot, so you can see from here. Many of these activities are free. For example, Ticknock is in the Dublin Mountains on the south part of the city, and there are many graded cycling tracks that have been developed. It's free access. At the bottom of the slope, you can rent a bike. There is a bike rental area with the helmet and everything, and just fantastic opportunities. And lots of Dublin people really enjoy all of these facilities. So in short, what I want to say is that Dublin is an excellent choice to study English, and it is a unique experience. Dublin will leave your students with great memories, new friendships, and of course, the gift of the gab. So what's the gift of the gab? It's great eloquence, skill, and confidence when speaking English. So I want to say thank you very much for listening to me. And I'm just trying to bring up one last slide there, but it's not behaving. Let me try. Okay, so it has been a great pleasure, and I thank my fellow schools that are on the call today for being asked to present for Dublin, and I hope that we persuade you that we're here fighting and looking forward to a full reopening in the autumn of 2021, and we really look forward to welcoming you all and to meeting you again, hopefully on the next trip out to Turkey. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Janice. Janice, I'm going to take the host back from you now, if that's all right. And if you can just stop sharing on your screen there, Janice, you choose this stop sharing option.
Sorry, Patrick.
No problem.
There you go. Thank you.
Lovely. Okay, so let me see if I can you see that? Is that visual there? Yeah. So thanks, Janice, for that, and we're coming across to Galway now on the west coast. So your second destination on your quick tour of Ireland, starting on the east coast in Dublin, now coming to the west coast, and not to a better city. Janice, I'm not competing with you on it being a better city. Some people might say it's a better city, but coming to a different type of city on the west coast. If you're not familiar with Galway, we're located here on the west coast in the center of the Wild Atlantic Way. The Wild Atlantic Way is a tourism destination that runs down the west coast of Ireland from Donegal here in the north, all the way down the coast through Galway and right down to Mark, who is in the south. He's our next presenter. Galway then is the very center of this region and has a lot of cultural attractions and different attractions to what is available in Dublin. We are Galway, the city of the tribes, and there are 14 tribes that originally established Galway as a city. More than 800 years ago, and as a coastal town and as a town that is located on the River Corrib, a lot of our heritage, our geographical, ecclesiastical and historical heritage is connected to the water and to the sea, which is close by where we are. There are many traditional symbols that are associated with Galway. So as I mentioned, we have the docks and the dock areas. So we've got a lot of boats and shipping. Associated with that, we have a lot of fish and nice foods to choose from, and there are lots of nice restaurants and bars available for students and tourists who come to visit us here in Galway. In the top left hand corner here, you can see a picture of what is or what was a very traditional fishing boat that was part of and is part of the Galway heritage, called the Galway hooker boat. You still see these boats sailing on the sea around Galway along the coast. And down in the bottom right hand corner, we have a picture here of the pedestrian centre of Galway. And anybody who's been to Galway will know that we have a large pedestrian centre that runs through the centre of the city, and on it are located many bars, restaurants and social activities that happen in the city centre. This is good not just for tourists who visit here and for our students who visit here in terms of having activities and things to do, but it also means that as we have a large service industry for tourism in Galway, that there are lots of possibilities of employment opportunities for students who may wish to come to study in Galway and then support themselves by perhaps working part-time in some of the hotels, bars and restaurants that are here located in our city. In terms of the destination Galway, where we are now, there are two language schools that are on the call here today. There's my own school, Bridgemills Galway Language Centre, you see at the bottom of the screen here, and Atlantic Language Dublin and Galway, and they're located also in the city centre. So we're both city centre located schools, which means that we're close to all of the amenities that the city has. But also keep in mind that Galway as a city is a small city, and it is easy to travel around the city on foot, by bicycle or by bus. So if you are coming to study in Galway or coming to visit in Galway, you're probably never more than about 30 minutes walk or maybe 10, 15 minutes cycle from the city centre where our two schools are located. So it means that it's easy to travel around and easy to participate in the events that the city offers, never too far from your host family or your accommodation. More details on the two schools, Atlantic Language Galway and Dublin, are available on the links here, and I'll forward on this presentation after the event. You can click on those links and find out a bit more about those two schools. I mentioned earlier that in Galway, we're in the very centre of the Wild Atlantic Way. If it's not something you have learned about, it's definitely something worth having a look. It spans the full length of the west coast of Ireland, including many beautiful beaches that you can see here, inland, coastal routes and lakes, along with lots of ecclesiastical and geographical history associated with Ireland. And it's a great destination to come if you want to learn about the history of Ireland and see some of the beautiful locations in Ireland. Galway is connected to Dublin and to Cork by bus and rail, so it's easy for students if they are based in Dublin to come and visit the west of Ireland, or in Cork to come north to visit us here in Galway. So we're a well-connected city and it's easy to visit and see some of these sites. There are some beautiful videos on the Wild Atlantic Way and further information on the Wild Atlantic Way. I put a link into this slide here, and afterwards, if you want to have a look at that, it'll give you an idea of some of the sites of this city on the west coast of Ireland. Janice mentioned that the population of Dublin is around 1 million, just over 1 million people, I think. Our population here in Galway is about 120,000. So we're about the 10th size in terms of population. And we have 2 universities that are located in our city. The 2 universities have student population of around 25,000 students. These are Irish and other students. So as a city, about 1 in 4 or 5 of our residents are university students, which means that there is a very nice young atmosphere to the city with lots of activities that are focused on students and student life. And it also means that it can be less costly in many cases because there are lots of discounts available in terms of the activities that are available for students. All of the destinations, Dublin, Cork and Galway, and all of the schools provide full social programs for students who come, whether they're studying in Dublin or Cork or Galway, and full student support for students to avail of these activities. I listed here some of the festivals that we have in Galway that run throughout the year, and there are many different festivals. This is just a sample of some of the main festivals. But what I wanted to highlight to you here is that if your students are coming to study with us in Galway, are coming to Galway as a location, they will never be bored. There will always be activities for them to do outside of the school environment, activities for them to participate in either with other students or with Irish people who are involved. The St. Patrick's Day Festival in March, which is listed here at the top, is a huge festival that runs for a number of days, not just in Galway, but in each city in Ireland, and not just in each city in Ireland, but I'm sure also celebrated in Turkey. Particularly with the Irish communities that are located anywhere. We always celebrate the St. Patrick's Day Festival, whatever part of the world we're in. And then there are a number of other festivals that run throughout the year, catering for different interests and needs, whether it's a music festival, a film festival. The very center of our year in July is the Galway Arts Festival, and this is a very important festival for us, brings a lot of tourists and a lot of activities to Galway, and lots of social opportunities for students who are studying with us to avail of as part of this festival. And then right through to the end of the year, we have the Winter Festival that runs through the months of November, December, and January. So here again, more activities for students to do outside of school time. So there never is a fear that they will be bored, that there'll be nothing to do while students are studying here in Galway. And of course, with each of these activities and each of these festivals come the opportunities not just for participation, but also for employment for students if they want to support themselves while they were studying. There are always needs for extra support staff to work and avail of employment opportunities with these festivals. Within the Galway region itself, as Janice has highlighted in Dublin, there are many different accommodation options, and the schools like ourselves and the schools in Dublin and Cork will help your students to find appropriate accommodation that best suits their needs. Most students coming to study with us in Galway will transfer from Dublin, and Janice already mentioned the flight and air links to Dublin, and the transfer from Dublin to Galway takes about 2 hours approximately. But we also have 2 other airports that are located on the west coast in Shannon and Knock, and there are transfers available to Galway from those destinations. In terms of getting around and traveling around the country, if you were to study in Galway, there are bus and rail services that travel north up to Donegal and Castlebar, and south down to Limerick and Cork, where Mark is located. So plenty of opportunities for students for countrywide connectivity if they are based in Galway and want to visit other parts of the country. And as I mentioned, on the west coast here, we have a lot of tourism and service industries, and so there are employment opportunities for students who are working in those industries. But we also have a large number of pharmaceutical companies that work here for students who have specific skills in those areas. And there are lots of office and administration positions available for students. So plenty of things to do and opportunities for students to study and to avail of social activities in Galway, in the region of Galway, and of course in other cities in Ireland also. And the 2 universities that I mentioned, NUIG and GMIT, and as Sinead mentioned earlier, we would very much like to see and have seen in the past students coming and studying with us for a period of time, improving their general English, and then perhaps going on to further and higher education courses, which could be located at our local universities here in Galway, or perhaps in universities in other destinations like in Cork and Dublin. So finally then, just the contact details for the 2 schools that I mentioned that are here in Galway, myself at Galway Language Centre and also Atlantic Language in Galway. We have a list here of some of the programs that we teach here, and these are the kinds of programs, adult, juniors, work experience, and so on, that all of the schools that are on today's meeting teach in the different destinations. And Mark, as Janice has mentioned, later on is going to focus on some of these programs that are available in the destinations, and also the kinds of exams that students can take as assessment at the end of their study. Okay, thank you very much, and I hope that I have sparked your interest in Galway as a possible study destination and a social destination for Turkish students. So with that, I will pass on to my colleague Mark, and he's going to talk a bit more about Cork, our third destination today and our third study destination. Is that all right? Mark, you're there?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, let me just find you now, and I will make you the host.
Excellent.
So Mark, you should have the hosting now.
All right, thank you very much. And thank you very much to Janice as well. Two great presentations giving lots of information on different areas in Ireland, obviously Dublin and Galway to study English. And so I'll just give a short presentation on Cork and what we have to offer. Bear with me just one moment here, and hopefully this will start. So I'm not sure if you can.
Yeah.
Can you see that? Is that okay?
That's that. We can see it, Mark. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, excellent. Thank you very much. So I'll just move on here. Obviously, Cork, we are located in the south of the city. Just to give it a little bit of information about Cork, it's also a university city with many third-level universities. It's quite a small, compact city, in that the city centre is an island. And in fact, Cork has the harbour of Cork is the largest. I think it's the second largest natural harbour in the world after Sydney. Cove, which is within the harbour of Cork, is very famous, of course, for the Titanic. So we don't actually do lots of English and sailing courses, but it is some place that a lot of people come to visit, and obviously the last port of the Titanic. So the city itself here, obviously, is it's full of history and heritage. Population of approximately 200,000. It's the second largest city in Ireland. It's in fact the largest county in Ireland. And as just mentioned there, that according to the Lonely Planet travel guide, Cork City, in fact, is one of the top 10 cities in the world to visit. So it's one that you really can't miss. As I said, it's the second largest city and the largest county. We're also known as the Rebel City and the Rebel County for a couple of different reasons. I won't go into them here. Don't want to annoy anybody else on the call. So we're located right on the south, as you can see on the map on the left, where we have an international airport located in Cork with flights from all over Europe. Turkish students that would arrive into Ireland would arrive into Dublin and transfer to Cork. It's only about 2.5 hours. There's an excellent transfer service. And Cork itself is more of a relaxed pace of life, certainly a cheaper place to stay. The students certainly say that to us. And we are, as Patrick mentioned, we are at the gateway to the Wild Atlantic Way, and we're also the gateway to the ancient East. So we have the best of both worlds, really. And you can see the map next to the one with the cities on it. This is the map that we use in Cork. So as you can see, there's Cork, and then there is not Cork. So that's the map that you should probably use going forward. This is just a short video on some of the areas around the city, and just to give you an idea of what Cork has to offer. So hopefully it will work. Let me just fly through this.
times I get distracted, girl, by the ways the workings of this world, but I think you was my lifestyle and glad that I'm just angel high. When I fall from home and lonely, and I think about my life, I think about you, all the little things that you do, and I'm glad you're mine. There are times I get distracted, girl, by the ways the workings of this world, but I think of you as my last run, and I'm glad that I'm yours and you're
All right, well, thank you for bearing with me to see that short video. It gives you an idea of the different activities that are. Oops, we'll stop this and move on to the next. Right, okay. Here are some more of the attractions that students will go to visit and people will go to visit within the city centre. We have the beautiful Blackrock Castle, Shandon Bells, and Cove, as I mentioned. That's the People's Cathedral in Cove. Many beautiful historical and cultural places to go to. Oops, I'm after, sorry, I just need to go back to, sorry. We will just, there we go. And these are some of the other attractions that are located just out of the city centre, all of them within short travel distance. Also, food and drink in Cork, we're very famous, known as the gourmet capital of Ireland. Some beautiful villages such as Kinsale, which is famous for its food festivals and restaurants, and all located quite close to the city centre. So as regarding studying English in Cork, as my colleagues have mentioned, I'll simply run through some of the programmes and courses that are available at many of the schools who are on this call today in both Dublin, Galway and here in Cork. Here in Cork, there's ACIT and ourselves are the two schools that are on the call today. And the exams that are available here in Ireland, especially at the partner and our colleague schools who are on the call here at the moment, would be some of the followings: Cambridge exams, IELTS, OET, language cert, language skills, Trinity, TOEIC, to name just a few. There are many other exams that are also available at many of the schools in Ireland. And schools would be very experienced in preparatory courses, and many of these exams are available to be taken actually at the schools themselves. So we provide a journey for the students, make it easier for the students, not only just the preparation, but also to be able to take the exam with us. Here are an idea of some of the courses that are run by the schools here. And obviously we have our general English, business English. Our study and work programs are obviously they're extremely important, and for us, obviously, you can see we call them study and work programs as against work and study programs. The priority is study and at quality schools and destinations as are on the call here today. The university pathways programs, which Patrick also referred to, and Janice. Many of the schools that are on the call today here would have contacts with the universities located right throughout Ireland, not only here in Cork, but obviously Dublin and Galway, and we would work very close with them. So many students do take a 6 or an 8 month course with us, or maybe a second term with us, and would maybe look at going on into university. The important thing I think about students that would come to Ireland, it's not only studying English, it's also experiencing Ireland. So the whole experience is very important, and the journey for the student. So we do have a full support service for our students, and we help them from the moment that they've chosen Ireland as a destination, or the city that they've chosen. We assist them with everything, right across the accommodation that Janice has referred to, the activities and things to do as Patrick was referring to, and then on to furthering their education. So they're not only coming over for a short little trip, they're coming over to further the possibilities in future life. Other courses, as I mentioned, the exam preparation. Obviously, our schools are all accredited. We have very highly qualified teachers. Many of our teachers would be examiners on lots of these exams. So you're guaranteed that the students are getting 100% quality training. corporate training for business companies, teacher training, Erasmus Plus over the last couple of years. I think the teacher training courses in Ireland have increased considerably, and we would consider Ireland as a top destination for Erasmus Plus. Other areas then, such as specialist English, aviation, medical, military, etc. The list goes on. But it's just to give you an idea, this is a short glimpse of the courses that are available at some of the schools that are on this call here today. These will be the courses for adult students, and for junior students then we have even more. And the list would go on pages. So we have multi-activity, we've football with clubs such as Valencia, Juventus, rugby with Munster and Leinster. We won't talk about that one because that would be another conversation. Filmmaking, journalism, horse riding, really whatever the juniors are looking for. And the great thing about a lot of the schools that are on this call here today is that we're continuously looking at new courses. How can we develop? How can we think outside the box? Things have changed so much over the last couple of years, and especially the last 15 to 18 months. We have, for example, English and STEM programs and STEAM programs, which are science and technology. So all of these opportunities for children. High school programs which run in the off season between September and May, which are hugely popular. And of course, we welcome winter school groups throughout the year, well, throughout the winter. So apart from that, all I can say is we'd love to see you all soon here in Ireland. And I'll finish off with my last slide, which are the contact details for ourselves and for ASN in Cork. I will send on the presentation as well. And should anybody have any questions, feel free to contact me. All right. Thank you very much.
That's great, Mark. Thank you so much, and Janice, thank you so much for the presentations there. Just if I can, just before we finish up, there were a few questions that had come in, and we might just address those, just 4 or 5 questions, and I might put those out to some of the other schools that are on the call here today. No difficult questions, so don't worry, just while we're here together. Nico, if I could just call on you first. Nico is here from Atlas School in Dublin. Nico, there was a question there about reopening, about our schools reopening, and about how schools are engaging with the government to put pressure on the possibilities of allowing us to reopen. Could you just maybe comment on that briefly?
Sure, yeah, thanks, Pat. Hi, everybody. Yeah, so obviously it's been very difficult over the last number of months, even trying to negotiate and communicate with the government. They are being very cautious, and we're trying to push, obviously, to reopen safely and as soon as we can. So the situation at the moment is we are allowed to open our schools to existing students, as you know, and most of the schools here have done that or are going to do that in the next couple of weeks. And we have ongoing discussions with the government around when we will be able to start recruiting internationally. Our arguments at the moment are that, you know, that students, particularly from the EU, can come in with a vaccination or on the digital certificate, and they can come and study they can go to lots of different places around Ireland. They can go into restaurants, into bars. So why can't they come and study with us? So this is the argument that we are having at the moment, or the discussion that we're having. And we're pushing very hard to get a date, you know, and that's what we need. We need clarity. We need to be able to tell you guys, the agents, exactly when you can start sending students. And obviously, Sinead, you know, you guys need to know when you can start processing visas. So we're all looking for a date, and that's all we're asking for. You know, we understand the difficult position the government is in. They're under pressure, not to be seen to bring in lots of international students, but at the same time, we really need clarity around this, and we're pushing very, very hard to get that date. Obviously, we're arguing that date needs to be at a minimum the same date as the universities will start taking in international students, which for some universities is the end of August. So we're very hopeful that date's going to come soon, and that it will be within, certainly in the next few weeks, that we'll hear, or the next week we would hope that we'll hear something more concrete. So that's where we are at the moment. Very frustrating, but at the same time we are slowly getting there. We've made big strides in the communication with the department. over the last 18 months, and that is a positive going forward. So yeah, hopefully we'll have some good news very soon.
Thank you, Nico. Thanks for that. A second question. I just have another couple of questions. Scarlett, if I can come to you at Emerald Cultural Institute. Yeah, Scarlett, there was just a question there, just a general question about Dublin as and Ireland as a study destination for Turkish students. Are there lots of Turkish students in Dublin? And is their response positive? Do they like coming to the city? Do they like coming to Ireland as a destination?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was covered a little bit earlier that, I mean, we've been dealing in Turkey for many years, as Justin has already said, and we have always found, and like Janice, we've attended different events in Turkey together, and we have always found that it is one of the nationalities, which I guess in the grander scheme is a relatively new, student cohort for Ireland, unlike some other more traditional markets. And so we have seen and witnessed, and even during the pandemic, I think it became even more obvious that, a lot of Turkish students did stay in Ireland and they were happy with the experience. And if they were in families, they were happy in that situation. So definitely we have noticed over the years, and particularly in the last 18 months, that certainly it is a destination that attracts Turkish students. I think the traditional values of Irish families and Irish culture assimilate well with Turkish values and the ideas that they have when coming to a country. And one thing I remember at the very beginning, when we were a new market for Turkey, the one thing that we were always, initially when Turkish students started coming to Ireland, the first question they had was, do you have a residence? Do you have a residence? We don't want host family. Do you have a residence? But over time, this very much changed so that Turkish students were happy. They realized that it was maybe different to other countries that they were more used to. The host family, situation and the host family experience was different in Ireland to other countries, but it took a little bit of time. But that certainly is something that we noticed. Yeah. Not sure if I've covered everything there now, Patrick. But...
No, Scar, that's perfect. Thank you so much. And then another question, if I can come down to Odile in Cork. Odile, can I just ask you, it was just a question about students coming from Turkey to Cork. They're transferring via Dublin, is that correct? In Cork,
Sorry,
yes.
Could you repeat your question?
Sure, Odile. Yeah, no, it was just about students from Turkey coming to Cork as a study destination, that you recommend students fly into Dublin and transfer. Is that what you recommend?
That's correct. That's the easiest way, really. The transfers are very fast, about 2.5 hours. You can take there is a bus right outside the exit in Dublin Airport, and it brings you right into the city centre of Cork. And it takes 2.5 hours, I think. Yeah, most students would do that rather than stopping in London and coming over to Cork City.
That's great, Odile. Thank you so much. And then one last question then I had. I don't know, Ugo, if you're still there. Ugo, if you're not there, I might give the question. Ugo's at ATC. Ugo, yeah. Hi, Ugo, how's it going? Sorry, you're on mute there. It was just a question, Ugo, on juniors and junior students under 18 or under 16 from Turkey coming to study in Ireland. Are there programs available for juniors? If you could just talk a little bit about that.
Absolutely. There are a huge number of junior programs available for Turkish students. And it's great because it's actually, compared to the adult market, it's a much smaller number of Turkish juniors coming in. And so there are plenty of homestay programs and residential programs, usually staying on university campuses. So with a very high quality accommodation, single ensuite accommodation, and they're available in Cork, Dublin and Galway, and there's all kinds of varieties of programs, whether you want something very specific like a horse riding program, or you want something more general where you do more tours and general activities. There's a great mix of nationalities of students from all over the world to come over in the programs. They're very, very well supervised as well, which I think is important. The supervision, the staff that work with the students are also constantly engaging and talking with the students. So it's a very, very nice environment to come over as a teenager to learn English.
Thank you, Ugo, for that. Okay, I'm going to stop there. We've just come to an hour now, which is the length of time that we had hoped to run for. And I just wanted to express some thank yous to everybody who's come along today. Special thank you to Sinead McGuinness, Visa Operations at the Embassy of Ireland in Ankara. Thank you for your participation today and giving us some insight on what's going on. A special thank you to the schools on the call here today from Dublin. We have ATC, Atlas Language School, Emerald Cultural Institute, Horner School and Centre of English Studies. In Cork, we have Cork English College. Mark, thank you for your presentation, and ASET in Cork also. And in Galway, then we have Atlantic Language, Dublin, Galway, and of course, myself, Richmond's Galway Language Centre, best for last. I'm thanking myself on this call. I also wanted to express thank you to Nick Marmion at Enterprise Ireland. He's not on the call today, but he helped greatly with putting me in touch with you and helping to organise this event. I couldn't have done it without him, so I just want to express special thanks from all of us here as Enterprise Ireland clients to him for his help in that. And then my final thank you, of course, to all of the agents who were on the call here today who have taken the time to introduce or reintroduce yourselves to us here in Ireland. We're delighted that you are here to reconnect with us, and we are very much looking forward, all of us here on the call, to working with you and welcoming your students back to Ireland as soon as we can. All of the schools here on the call will be opening in this month of August and will be available to welcome your students on an ongoing basis through the rest of this year and into 2022, and we hope for better days ahead. Thank you to my fellow presenters. I will circulate a copy of this and the presentations to everybody who's attended here today. If you have any questions, please do follow up, and thank you all for coming along. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye,
Thanks,
guys.
Patrick. Great
Bye.
job. Thank